Hello and welcome to the walk-off, everybody. It is a Monday morning mailbag on a Tuesday afternoon, done in true walk-off fashion on a Wednesday afternoon. I'm Scott Belford, joined as always by the best co-host in the biz, Adam Mack. And we are 2 games in to this Jays Atlanta series. Listen, we're literally laying this down. It is just a little after 11 p.m. or 11 a.m. Eastern time here in Toronto. Obviously, the game starts at 1. It is an afternoon game, and we have released this after the game. So, again, here we are, not knowing how the series goes. Chris Bassitt going to the mound. Our stud leader here on Studs and Duds when we do that on Friday. Chris Bassitt, an honorable mention the first week and winning it all last week. So he leads the leaderboard here on the walk-off. Glad to see him taking the ball. And he is going against, back from injury, Spencer Strider. Of course, perennial Cy Young candidate for the Atlanta Braves. So we'll see how things go. Of course, you cross your fingers and hope that maybe him coming off of injuries gave this team a little bit of leeway, right? A little bit of room to breathe and get their hits in before Strider gets comfortable and settles in for the season. Of course, again, apologies that this is after the game. You're just going to need to deal with that. And this is mailbag anyways. So really, we're just addressing your comments, questions, and interactions of the week anyways. You can always reach out here on the walk-off on Twitter at Walk-Off Podcast. On Blue Sky, the Walk-Off Podcast, the Walk-Off Podcast on Instagram, a couple Instagram messages today. I'm trying to be more active on the Instagram side of
You're
things.
so good.
Well,
You're so
I'm
good,
I'm
Scott.
just nailing it. Yes, I know. Even after the show on Friday, I had in Ottawa at Stray Dog Brewing. One of the grounds crew members, Chris from Ottawa, came down and watched the show, which was really cool to meet him. And he's been a long time walk-off listener, him and his brother. And I even managed to post our picture on the walk-off Instagram. Look
Wow.
at that kind of content
You're
creation.
figuring it out, man. Look at you
And
go.
they say we're too old to get it done. Look at that. Not happening here. Doing our best. So
You can also get a hold of us by fax machine
by fax
at
machine, if you want to send us a fax or a page, you can
a
page us here.
page. Yeah, our beepers are ready to roll. So
Of course, if you are a Patreon member, you automatically get the Patreon bump and you get into the mailbag automatically. Let's start with Baseball Town. A little bit of housekeeping here. That goes tomorrow. I am so pumped for this Baseball Town. First one of the season here in Toronto. We have Blake Murphy and Julia Cruz, who are the host and co-host of Blue Jays Talk Plus, which is officially up and going now for the season. They had their first episode of the year where they're going to go every single day yesterday. So really excited to have the team there from Sportsnet on. We've got Mitch Bannon currently writing with Blue Jays Nation. Rounding out that panel, we have the boys from Blue Jays Today, Nick and Adam, going down against each other, okay, facing off in a trivia off where I'm going to test their skills with some Blue Jays knowledge and see who is the king of trivia. And then, as if that's not enough, we're also going to do a roast battle between the Seattle Mariners and the Toronto Blue Jays, a couple of Toronto's top comics representing each team. Very exciting stuff. Tickets for that, just a little over $20. You can go ahead and grab those in the comment section here. In fact, look at this, Adam. I think I even have a link up in the description, like
wow.
real content creators do. Go to bio, go to the link. There it is.
That's
All
elite.
right.
That's elite.
Elite sort of stuff here on the walk off. Yes. It only
You're a
took us
five-tool podcaster, Scott. There's no way
we're
around it.
becoming that. Exactly. And it only took us 5 years to sort of somewhat maybe kind of get here.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. Also, one quick tease here, 8 p.m. tonight. If you are on Eastern time and want to check it out, I am going to be a guest on 590 The Fan Sports Radio here, Sportsnet in Toronto, joining Daniela Franceschi and Mike Gentile. Looking forward to that. Talking some Blue Jays on the radio. Like a real old
Fun,
man.
fun. Like
Just
a real
where
old
where
man.
old men belong on the
You can get a hold
radio.
of us by fax or radio call-in.
All right, let's hop in here, starting with Patreon. This is from Trev. He goes, the AL East there for the taking. And I'm going to stop right there before we really get into the meat of this comment, because the truth is, Adam, it does feel that way, doesn't it? The AL East is sort of up for grabs right now.
Yeah, I mean, this is the first time in a long time that there feels like there hasn't been a team with a pushing 700 win percentage at this point in the season, between the
Yeah.
Orioles and the Rays and the Yankees. Everyone's kind of had those seasons where you're meddling around 500, or look where we're at right now, a
Mm-hmm.
game or two above, and you should feel good, but then you look at the standings and it's like, oh, the Rays are 20-3,
Yeah.
like,
No, and that's not the
so
case this year. It's
that is
been
not the
great.
case.
Honestly, even if you look at Boston and the Orioles are below 500 and the Yankees have not run away with this thing by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, their pitching has been in big time trouble, obviously, as injuries heal themselves and guys start to come off of the IL. The Yankees might be a team that is formidable and could take this division. But right now, question marks around all five teams. So going back to Trev's comment here, he goes, AL East there for the taking. Actually allowing myself to start to get excited about 2025, which says something because Trevor's always the realist. Last night's game is what I want to see more of with the ISO, and it will come. Some of the early successes, guys, will fall back, but we have 60 plus dingers to look forward to from Bo and Vlad. I'm so not a Chad Green guy, and the numbers support my concern since he's been here. We really have two high leverage arms in that pen that will catch up with us in time, especially if we lose Hoff or Jimmy to the IL at all. Now, that said, before we get into the rest of his comment, Eric Swanson is starting to pitch. He's on the mound and he's coming back from injury. If Eric Swanson can be the guy we had in 2023, that adds an extra arm to the back end of this bullpen and definitely will help with those high leverage situations. The starters won't maintain this current pace, but if we pick up the ISO, that's okay. That group is always going to be fairly competitive, and so far they have been unreal, which I did not expect. The front office just cannot fiddle fuck around in 2025. Simber and Brad hand their way through this bullshit. We have to hit the market, start if we need a leverage arm or whatever. This is our 2015 all-in season. Do you agree, Adam, with Trev, that if there is bullpen trouble early, that this is something that should be addressed earlier rather than later? Like, is there a lot of leeway here for this front office to wait to the trade deadline, or is there a possibility where maybe they need to overpay for an area of need if that arises?
Um, I have two issues with this strategy. First of all, I don't think we have the resources to go all in this year. I've been saying it since April 1st. I think we did the heavy lifting we could in the off season, and that's where we're going to have to continue to go all in.
Mm-hmm.
Is going after Trevor Hoffman types in the off season and spending our way
To legitimacy.
into some depth here, because I just I'm not saying we can't make acquisitions, but we're going to have to get, as much as the fan base is not going to be thrilled with it, discount bargain type bullpens bullpen additions that
That
like
work out.
you just hope they work out. You're gonna get two or three guys that aren't like the nicest, sexiest names, but you're like, well, if one of them can be good and one of them can be all right, and we cut the other one, that's a win for what we're working with.
Yeah, bring in
Um,
Brad Hand and cross your fingers he's not Brad Hand that we had, like, or that,
yeah,
I don't necessarily mean Brad Hand, but you get the
yeah,
point, is
that
that
an
bring in
equivalent of
that
that.
type of guy where, yes, there is a track record, but it's spotted, and maybe you get the superstar and maybe you get the dud, and you cross your fingers it's the right one.
The other aspect to this question is go in early, right? Like not wait till the deadline.
Mhm.
The funny thing is, and I'm not sure how this works out, but fact check me on this, you'll see I'm right. If you want to make those moves earlier, it's going to cost you.
Yeah,
The earlier you go, the more it's going to cost you. But also, somehow, the longer you wait, the more it's going to cost you.
yeah.
And I'm not sure how that's true. I just know that it is. As you get closer to the deadline, the price goes up. But also, if you go early, you got to pay more up front. I can't wrap my mind around it, but I know it's true.
Yes, I agree.
So,
There you
so
go. Some gut feelings there on that one. I like it. Moving
that's some
on.
vibe analysis right there.
Moving on to another Patreon here, and this is from Johnny Eaton. I got such a kick out of Johnny last week, buddy, because he was in a fiery mood about our three studs and a dud reaction.
Mhm.
And what's really funny is that his thoughts were not all that different from you at all. Literally, he also had Chris Bassitt as the number one stud. He started pulling out WAR. Do you have your stud and dud list? Do you know it off heart by chance? Um, I'll
My studs and duds for last week was Springer 3, Barrios 2, Bassett 1. Honorable mention, Gary Gossman.
Yes. So then Johnny broke down the WAR. So Chris Bassitt with a 0.5 WAR in the week, which is number one, which is why you put him number one. Uh, Kevin Gosman, 0.3 wins above replacement on the week. Honorable mention, even though that's the second highest WAR here. Batters Springer was 0.3, which is also why he was second. So technically, if you're just going by WAR, so far you're still dead on. One and two, just by the numbers, you're there. Now, Jose Barrios was a 0.2 wins above replacement. You put him in the second spot, right?
Yep.
Because of an intangible, which was
Yes.
that
Which I'll
the
still defend. I love where Johnny's going with this, but I'll defend my.
yes. So Johnny goes, if you go by Fangraphs WAR Thursday through Wednesday, second week of the schedule in this order, Bassett 0.5, Gosman 0.3, Eston Lucas 0.3, Hoffman 0.2, Francis 0.2. That's the pitching. Batter Springer 0.3, Vladdy 0.2, Dud Kirk minus 0.2, which you had your dud as Kirk, correct?
I had my dad as Brendan Little.
Yeah,
Kirk was a dishonorable mention.
dishonorable mention. Okay. Um, basically, he really loved Nathan Lucas as 0.3. He had a good week.
Sure.
This Johnny's been a Lucas fan for 2 years now. In fact, he fought pretty hard last season when he didn't make the team that he should. So Johnny
Hell of a
likes.
base runner, too.
Yeah, right. He never makes mistakes on the base path. That's one thing you can say about
Hey, you make
Nathan
mistakes on the
Lucas.
base path, you're halfway to $500 million. So,
Yeah, yeah.
okay, sorry, I'm derailing this topic.
All to say, the reason that Adam put Jose Barrios in as the second stud, even though there were higher wins above replacement players you could have put there, and stop me if I'm putting words in your mouth, but the
Okay.
intangible that Jose Barrios took the bump after losing three in a row to the New York Mets and stopped the bleeding. pitched 6 great innings, and got the win in a what felt like a must-win game going into a division rival in Boston. Care to elaborate? Is that more or less why you put him there?
I mean, yeah, and I addressed that in the show is that there
Mm-hmm.
was that I was torn and that I did acknowledge that like look, other than like Bassitt being number one as the no-brainer, there was
You could have
four or
had
five
Eston Lucas.
eligible names. Yeah, like there's
You
only
could
so
have
many
had
spots to
Nathan
go around,
Lucas. Exactly.
right? And that the tiebreaker for me, I know like people are like, oh, how do you give a guy with zero earned runs or two starts like no love? And it's like it's not about no love, but yeah, it's just in a team that we've acknowledged is like the bullpen is probably the biggest concern on this roster. You know, like hopefully health of the starting pitching holds up. But like, man, to go get a deep start
Yeah.
is just so much more valuable to me. Like to get an extra 2 innings, and it's like, okay, if you got to trade a run or two, but you're
Again,
going
these
that
are
much deeper.
intangibles, right? Like these are just,
Look,
yeah.
yeah, it's not war leaders of the week is not what the segment is called. I guess is my best way of defending it is like, but it is also funny that like my vibe check is like pretty accurate when you're just measuring someone's war,
Yeah.
right? Like it's
Yeah.
just, which is the funny thing about war is it's just you're placing a number value on an eyeball test, really. It's like I don't know. So,
I will say I love Johnny's passion, and for all of
yeah,
you
for
who
sure.
have reached out about
Push
three
back
studs
every
and a dud.
week on the
Yeah,
studs and duds because
absolutely.
as the month goes on and the year goes on too, we're going to see a lot of guys where look, I'm going to also want to give somebody a dud. There's just only so many dud slots to hand out
Yes.
on any given time, right?
Yes.
So, um, yeah, no, this is fun. Let's haggle back and forth.
So we were talking about Vladdy's contract structure and the massive um oh my goodness, the word is escaping me. The bonus, what's the
Signing bonus.
signing bonus? Jesus, how is signing the word I can't freaking think of? Okay. The massive signing bonus and the way that all went down, Michael Myers piped up and had something to say. He goes, I think this contract structure calls for court cases for tax avoidance. They all live in Florida, basically. Why wouldn't every player want that structure? And that's a good question. And I think with Vladdy getting this structure, it's going to open the doorway to more players demanding that their contract comes down this way, right? Like if a team can pay a player less through this sort of structure and still make the money up on the back end through taxes and avoiding them, I think organizations are going to be doing this across the league.
Um, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think we'll see more, but I also think it's not going to be an option for a lot of franchises, I think.
Yeah.
So,
Well, Jeff Passan said something really interesting on Blair and Barker, where Blair was trying to say, are we going to see more contracts like this where a guy stays in one spot, right? We're like,
mhm.
is this opening the door to that? And basically, Jeff Passan was like, well, free agency is always going to be very, very desirable. But also, when you start to get to these mega contracts, he's like, I think that it's going to be player to player and very unique circumstance to circumstance because it is so much money and there is so many moving parts, and every organization views strengths and weaknesses to a contract differently. And so there probably isn't going to be a one size fits all mega contract, right? There's just going to
Yeah.
constantly be these little tiny mouse nuts and differences, right? So should be interesting. You know, like how many more of these mega contracts will we see? Will we even see another one before the CBA gets renegotiated after the 2026 season? I don't
Oh,
know.
is that your question? Was it Kyle Tucker? That's the
Kyle
big.
Tucker might still like I Kyle Tucker's going to get a mega contract most likely. He's 29. He's killing it too.
But the question is, does he sign before or after?
Before. So
Well, when
1
does
year.
the CBA expire? Doesn't it expire
CB.
after this season?
Um, do you want to just really quickly double check that? I think it's after the 2026 season, but I think
Oh
it's a
yeah, it's December 1st, 2026.
okay.
So we have 2 more years of baseball this year and one more after this. So
It's
you're right.
December 1st, 2026.
Yeah.
Oh shit, that's this year, dude.
No, this is
Oh yeah,
2025.
yeah. Never mind. Wow, wow. That's not how
Hey,
calendar. That's
not
not how
gonna judge
calendar
you.
years
I
work at
had the
all.
exact same feeling
Yeah,
11 seconds ago.
yeah. Okay, yeah. Okay,
It's so
perfect.
good.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay. Next comment from Patreon is from Mish Beer. Mish, by the way, was featured heavily yesterday in the ninth inning of the Blue Jays game. Some real TV time there for her. So fun stuff, Mish. She goes, "What am I? Chopped liver? I'll be there too." To this, she's talking about Baseball Town because I was mentioning that former guests are coming out in droves just to hang out. Keegan Matheson's going to be there. Lizzie McGuire is going to be there. And Misha's like, give me a name mention. I'm there too. So there you go, Mish. We're making up for it here in Mailbag. Mish will be at Baseball Town again. Your tickets for that are in the comments section and in the description. Feel free to grab a ticket and come hang out at the best Blue Jays community hang in the, I'm going to say it, country. In the country. All right.
Oh.
Whoa. Join Blake Murphy, Julia Cruz, Mitch Bannon, the boys from Blue Jays today. It should be a good time. Moving on to Ian Elliott. He is talking about his comment is from MLB Mondays, which is a Patreon exclusive, but we got into the chat about Mike Trout and the fan interference. I don't know
Hmm.
if everyone saw it, but there was a similar play to the Mookie Betts scenario where a fan literally ripped the ball out of his glove. Now, this was Angels versus the Astros in Houston. I will say this, the fan far more apologetic afterwards. Uh, it was more into the seats than the Mookie Betts one was. And I know that Adam, being the rule aficionado that he is, let us all know on MLB Mondays that the rule is you can literally wrestle the player if they're in the stands. It is game on there type of thing, which
Yep.
is why they
Pandemonium.
they called it a foul ball even though he had caught it and it wrestled out. So this is all about, that's what this was in concern to. Ian Elliott goes, my opinion with fans ripping balls out of players' gloves, zero tolerance. Fans need to be instantly ejected for initiating any contact with a player at any time, period. Problem is, everyone sees a ball as a paycheck now. You see the resale on things like the Otani home run ball. Fans are stupid, though, especially Yankees fans. Fuck, I hate them. And think even a foul ball off a Bradley Zimmer foul will make them millionaires. Most of those balls are worth less than $5. Worth less than a $5 foot long. I know they no longer exist, he says. Tough to disagree with that. I mean, when it comes to the health and safety of the players, and I kind of mentioned this on MLB Mondays. I was like, so you can just alligator wrestle a ball out of a friggin' guy's glove, and if it's in the fans, it's fine. And Adam was like, yep, those are the rules. So
Seems that way. Yeah.
it will be interesting to see if this is something that maybe under the radar gets addressed in the new CBA, right? Like there is a pathway for this to change, and I think it might be for the best of the players if they do. I'm not sure how you would draw that rule up, or if you just extend the netting right down to the very
Well,
end.
that was what I was wondering is they've already got the netting up so far down the first and third baselines anyways.
Yeah.
Go another 80 feet and take it right to the foul pole at that point, which would be dumb,
Yeah, it would
but
kind of
I'm anti-netting. I don't know.
yeah. Well,
Ask Lizzie how she feels about netting,
okay.
you
All
know?
right. Noted. I will.
Please,
I will
genuinely,
report.
I do want to know,
I will
like
report back to you. Lizzie, of course, for those of you who were unaware, was the young lady who took the Bo Bichette foul ball to the face and then Tops made a baseball card off of her with the big goose egg there. So yeah, we'll
That
see
was a
what
wild goose egg, by
that
the
was a
way.
wild goose egg. Okay. Uh next comment in Patreon is from Mustard Tiger, and he goes, I feel like a puppy owned by a sociopath watching this team. From one at bat to the next, I have no idea if I'm going to get treats or get kicked. Yeah, this team has been interesting. I mean, it was really funny to watch yesterday's game and be like, holy shit, I guess the home run ball isn't as evasive as we thought it was. Alan Roden going deep. Anthony Santander starting to go. He has what, 3 bombs or 2 bombs in 3 days? Love to see it. This is the thing with home runs is they do come in
Come
bunches,
in
right?
bunches.
So, yeah, I
Who
don't know.
had Roden has more home runs than Bo Bichette and Vladdy combined 3 weeks into the season
Oh
on their bingo
God,
card.
yeah, not me, and especially when it's only one home run.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Vladdy took it for a
I'm
ride a few times. He's gone to the warning track. You feel like he's just,
ramping up.
yeah, one
Look,
little
yeah, I mean,
tweak.
man, Vladdy is like, he's going to be such a love-hate player. It's like when he's not putting him out, he's so frustrating to watch.
Yeah. It's
And
like
when he's
how are
on, he's as exciting as it gets.
it's like
Like,
how are you hitting these balls at 110 miles an hour off the bat and they're finding gloves? Like they're
man, you
just
know what they say? Hardest hit ground into double plays in Major League
in
Baseball.
Major
That's
League
Vladdy.
Baseball history. In Major League Baseball
Nobody hits
history.
into double plays harder than
As
Vladdy.
quickly as Vladdy. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Going to Twitter here. This one is from Drew Wallen. Oh yeah, this one cracked me up. Drew, who by the way, I don't know if you remember Drew, Adam. He was like literally one of our first listeners way, way back in the day. He
Yeah.
was from the Rock, Newfoundland, right? So
Last initial W, I
that
believe.
that's right. You are well aware of Drew W.
Yeah.
So he goes, by the way, props to you guys for letting Gate 14 believe they were the first podcast to interview Mark Shapiro. Ha ha. First thing they said in the episode, and I was like, well, that's not true. LOL. So, yes,
Hey, that'd make a great trivia question for Baseball Town.
that's right. That's right. Which podcast was the first podcast to have Mark Shapiro on? You know what's really funny, man? Number one, again, huge shout out to Gate 14 for getting Mark Shapiro. Not
Honestly,
only
I
did
enjoyed the interview.
I
It
did
was good.
too.
It
It
was
was a great
entertaining.
interview. Really well done, boys. Both Avery and Johnny. Nicely done. And they had him in the same room. Whereas when we interviewed Mark, it was over Zoom. Mark also
Yep.
gave them an extra 15 minutes. So it goes to show you the pecking order of podcasts, Blue Jays related podcasts. However, we were there first, and it was funny to see them ask him the Moneyball question.
Hmm.
And boy, did he ever respond friendlier to them. He was genuinely choked with us, Adam. And then to watch him, he
Yeah,
was goofing around. He's like, "This is what." I'm like, "Did he learn and practice off us?" Like,
I think so. I think so. I think so. We were the look. We're the oldest sibling, is what it is. You know,
yes, yes,
we push the boundaries with the parents. They're annoyed with us,
that's
and then the
right.
younger siblings come in and they get to stay up all night and drink
Yeah,
alcohol and everything when they're teenagers. And we're
it's
like,
better you do it under our roof while we have a safe eye on you,
we're the
our
fun
parents. Yeah.
parents.
We're
Don't go
so
anywhere
fun.
else.
Yeah. Bring your friends over. The
Yeah,
basement's everyone's.
exactly.
Thanks for reaching out, Drew. Good to hear from you. It's been a while since I'd heard from Drew. So, again, nice
Hmm.
of him to pop his head up. This next one is from Janice Wilms. She goes, hey, guys. Hoping to get on Mailbag this week. So well done, Janice. She goes, I love the podcast. Do you guys think the Eston Lucas magic is gone?
Yes. Next
So,
question.
so I was actually at the game on Monday. Talk about a dud to go to. Vladdy's
Yeah.
first day in Toronto after the big signing. They called it Vladdy Day, Merry Vladmas. Everyone was all happy and excited, and holy shit, what a tough game to watch. Eston Lucas. So I actually love this question because it is a very valid way of looking at this. Eston Lucas obviously has a little bit of a career behind him already, 28 years old. He's been around the league a little bit. Do you want to put a bunch of weight into his two starts where he allowed 0 runs over 10.1 innings? Or do you want to put a bunch of weight into the game where he really got hit with the long ball? He didn't even allow that many hits. He only allowed 4 hits, but 3 of them were dingers with runners on base.
Mm-hmm.
And those runners, for the most part, were walks. So that's how you get yourself into trouble. I don't think that we should pull Eston Lucas from the starting rotation. I also am well aware that this is not an option the organization has. So are we going to see Eston Lucas suit up and back on the bump for this team in 3 starts, 2 starts? Yeah, we absolutely are. Is he going to get hit as hard as he did on Monday? I would say unlikely. In fact, I think that Pete Walker and the catching tandem of Kirk and Heineman are probably sitting down with him and going over some of his mistakes and being like, listen, kid, we need to limit these long balls. You know, if you're giving up a single instead of a home run, that's going to go a long way. Keep the ball on the ground. Whatever their plan of attack is, obviously they're going to refine that. Do I think Eston Lucas is a 0 ERA pitcher? No, those don't exist. Is there a happy medium between here? I think so. And I do think that it was kind of summed up well on the broadcast last night where Joe Siddle was like, you know what? If this team, if Eston Lucas can be a 4 ERA, a 4.5 ERA guy, that's a pretty good number 5. And you know what? If some games he's great and some games he gets blown up and that's how this goes, take it. And we've said this on the podcast, Adam, right? Any good start out of Eston Lucas is found money.
Yes, that is true. That is definitely true. Regardless of whether the magic is up, whether the pumpkin has struck midnight, I'm mixing up my metaphors here.
Yes.
But yes, it is all found money. Honestly, even if he's a wash from here, having 2 good starts out of him while Scherzer's out
Yes.
is great. Yeah, I don't think he's done. I think this is inevitable with any young pitcher in Major League Baseball, though. The more they play, the more the scouting report gets a little bit more detailed from other teams. A guy does get figured out, right? It's the same thing with hitters on the other side, right? Davis Schneider comes up, he's hitting great, one of the best starts in Major League Baseball history. And then opponents figure him out and they go, okay, he can't hit this type of pitch. You know, he can't, you keep it inside, you keep it low, or whatever the case may be. And as long as you're there, he's not doing any damage. And it's the same thing with pitchers. So this could be, I don't know. I don't,
Honestly, it's really so difficult to answer this question on such a small
it's
sample
just too
size
small.
because we really are in a situation in the season where Eston Lucas could literally have the same line and have the same thing have happened if he was Jacob deGrom, right? Like, yeah, two starts where you're unhittable and then you blow up one. It happens with the best pitchers. It happens with the worst. It's really difficult to draw any sort of conclusions. The hope and the dream is that he can correct some of the mistakes that he made in Monday's start. And the big one is giving up walks and then allowing a long ball. So can he limit his home runs his next time on the mound? Time will tell. Fingers crossed.
Now, notable, his opponents are the Seattle Mariners in his next start. It
Mm-hmm.
is a day game in Toronto. Mariners, one of the lowest scoring offenses in
Yep.
baseball with 65 runs. However, that puts them 21st, by the way,
Mm-hmm.
in runs scored. However, if you go over to the sort by home runs category,
Yes,
Mariners number 6.
they do hit bombs.
21 home runs so far this season.
Yeah.
By the way, for reference, Blue Jays 25th in home runs and 15th in runs scored.
which is actually pretty impressive that they're scoring the runs they're scoring. They're right in the middle of the pack and they're close to the bottom of the barrel when it comes to
Bunting their
home
way to
runs. So
success.
literally the dream is that Anthony Santander continues to that he's found it, right? 2 home runs in 3 days. You hope that he kind of finishes April with 5 or 6 home runs. That would be beautiful, right? Then he's right on pace with where you want him to be, and he's gonna hit 30 plus dingers, and that's what you need out of
Yeah.
Santander. Vladdy can come alive with the long ball anytime now, and same goes for Bo Bichette. I think Bo Bichette is gone from a guy who was flirting with 30 stolen bases and 30 dingers back in 2021 to a guy who's, you know, probably going to hit 10 and 10 and we're going to watch him lead the league in hits. He's getting his hits. He's just I don't know. That power with Bo just doesn't seem to be there right now. It wasn't there last year. I don't know.
I'm fine if Bo is a 10 and 10 guy and leads the league in hits. I don't need power from Bo.
Yeah,
Honestly, if he hits 10 home runs this year, he's going to be cheaper to resign.
you're probably right.
Yeah, if he hits 50, what's a 27-year-old free agent shortstop who hits 50 dingers and leads the league in hits? What's that guy worth?
If if he
Like
if he hits 50, oh my,
he's
like
getting more than
that's
Vladdy.
and man, if he hits 50 now, that means he's like on a 60 home run pace for the rest of the year.
Jesus Christ. All right,
Not
all right.
happening. All right, this is actually from Blue Sky. Kevin Ahoy just I don't know what it's called on Blue Sky, tweeted at us, I guess. The public version, not the DM version where they tweet at you. And he goes, I'm watching the game with Heineman up, and I'm talking to my TV saying, come on, Magic Man, come on. And he pulls a rabbit out of the hat at Walk Off Podcast. Yes, my Magic Man nickname is catching on, Adam. This is what I've wanted is for the magician in the clubhouse to get the nickname Magic Man. Tyler Heineman, 33 years old, pulling rabbits out of hats and sleeves out of his or sleeves, cards out of his sleeve. Love to see it. And honestly, man, Tyler Heineman, what a stud. He doesn't get
Man,
stud credit because
he
he's
doesn't
not
play
playing
enough.
enough, but
Oh man, I am though. Like, if this kept up for all of April, you do got to start questioning playing time, don't you?
yeah. Yeah, if Heineman, you know what? It's so funny because I think last mailbag a question was if Tyler Heineman has Tyler Heineman showed enough to deserve more starts and a more even amount of the workload. And I said I didn't even put thought into it. I was like, absolutely not. Do not do that. He's 33 years old with a track record. We know eventually what he's going to wind up being. You know that he's going to return to his career average. Let's not squeeze that magic out of him faster than we have to. But if he does keep going like this, I mean, it's like when it was asked, should Springer be moved up in the order? And I was like,
Hmm.
absolutely not, until he kept going long enough where you're like, yeah, well, no one else is
I
doing
guess
it. Put him
so.
up
Yeah.
there. So yeah, I would say that if by the end of April, Tyler Heineman's still doing what he's doing, which is 1,000 plus OPS and
A
hitting almost
455
400,
batting average.
yeah, sure. Give him some more
Yeah.
playing time if that keeps going. Okay. Before I get to the next question, Adam, I'm going to give you a little heads up here. Would you do me a favor and pull up Aroldis Martinez's numbers from AAA?
They're not good, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, well, this is why I'm bringing it up. So, Sundeep sent us a DM on Instagram, and he goes, "Hey guys, why is Davis Schneider still on this team? Call up Aroldis Martinez already." Which I will say Davis Schneider is struggling, but this is obviously a comment from a man who has not checked in on Aroldis Martinez's numbers in AAA lately, because let me tell you, this is a dude who just finished coming off of an 80-game suspension due to PEDs. And what we really were hoping to see out of him was some confidence and some power and what all of the hype and excitement for him has been, which is hitting dingers. Um, Adam, definitely worth taking a big swallow over and nervously pulling at the collar because none of that has happened.
No. So the Buffalo Bison, AAA, 13 games into the season, Orelvis Martinez has appeared in 9 of them, has 32 plate appearances, does have 1 home run, but a 0.71 batting average,
That
an
is
OPS of 366.
that is, you take the Mendoza line and then divide it by 3. Ugh.
Yeah, averaging nearly 2 strikeouts a game. It's it's ugly for
It is
Elvis to
very
start the year.
ugly, and it is a little bit concerning being he is coming off those PEDs, and you do wonder if his value has evaporated completely when it comes to the open market as well because of this, right? Like, he's not showing that his power wasn't from PEDs, which is what you really hoped he would do, right? Come in, still
Mhm.
hit bombs, and everyone can be like, okay, the kid made a mistake. Obviously, the talent's still there, the power's still there. And I mean, very small sample size to sit here and shit on the kid over 30 plate appearances, probably not the way to go about it. However, when it comes to send Davis Schneider down and bring up Orelvis Martinez, not happening. Okay. Now, there's definitely an argument to be made that maybe Schneider should go down to AAA and build some confidence. There's probably an argument to be made that Will Wagner is sort of on the bubble right now as some other players in AAA are really excelling. The two main ones, Addison Barger, who was just brought up yesterday because Nathan Lucas is on the paternity list. So I don't know if Barger's just here for 2 days until Lucas is back or how this plays out. You would have needed to see him really get hot at the plate, and he didn't get a hit yesterday. So we'll see what's going to happen. Addison Barger, I think, is the first guy, though, that's going to be given an opportunity if either Wagner or Schneider need some marinating, some seasoning in AAA. The other guy who's really killing it right now, Jonathan Clase. Of course, he was the prospect that the Blue Jays traded Jimmy Garcia to the Mariners for at the trade deadline last year. Class A center fielder, hitting 400 right now in AAA, putting up great numbers. His speed is absolutely exceptional, and he's getting those stolen bases as well in
Six
AAA.
stolen bases already.
Yeah, 6 stolen bases. So if
Uh,
there is going to be a swap out, all of this to say it won't be Martinez. It's most likely going to be one of these other bubble guys like Barger, like Clase, and Wagner and Schneider. I think are kind of the dudes on the team right now that are at risk.
couple other names to keep an eye on in AAA. Raleigh Tirada
Yeah,
have
friend of the
himself a good
show.
start to the year.
Yes, he is.
He is 26 years old,
Mm-hmm.
has a 863 OPS, a 304 batting average, and third base is a question mark for us. I know there's a comment here about Ernie Clement being.
Yeah, Clement's another guy who struggled. He's starting to put the bat on the ball. Like he had that, what was it, 4 for 5 night just recently, and his yeah.
Biggest thing with Clement, I think, is he feels to me like the
New
journeyman
Cavendish,
hold down the fort guy. Like we
utility.
really, we really don't have an answer at third base. Uh, Anybody except for Clement is concerning defensively.
Yeah.
So he's going to, I think, stay on the roster if for no other reason than to be the closer at third base. Like, oh,
Yeah.
we have the lead and our third baseman just hit in the 7th inning. Guess
Put
who's
in
coming out
Ernie.
for the 8th? It's Ernie, right? To finish off the game because I've seen enough of Will Wagner at
Yeah.
third base.
Yeah. So have I. So have I. He is not a natural third baseman by any means.
So
And
I think Ernie's going to keep a job just for that.
yeah.
And
Now
it's going
that
to be that
said,
way until
Riley
someone else takes the next step.
Riley Terada is a really interesting option here for this team because if they are going to move a guy like Will Wagner back to AAA to let him get his confidence back up, I think Riley Terada is a real interesting option here. He plays both third and first. You can move him around the infield a little bit. He does have a track record of power throughout his minor league career. Last year, he hopped onto that Buffalo scene, and I think he hit 7 bombs in 10 games or something like that. It was insane what he was doing. And you know what? He was on Baseball Town in Dunedin in March, and the head on that kid very similar to Alan Roden, where he doesn't get too high, he doesn't get too low. He really views the game in a way that you can mentally compartmentalize and continue to move
Mhm.
forward, which is so important for these kids. Like it really is such a mental battle when it comes to taking the next step, not getting too high when you're killing it, not getting too low when you're slumping. So
Mhm.
I like the head on his shoulders. Riley Terada, guy to watch for.
There you go. Will Robertson, by the way, also having himself a good start to the year. Uh,
Lefty bat, another friend of the show, 27
yeah,
years old.
plays outfield, 2 home runs already through 9 games in Buffalo, 273 batting average, second best OPS in AAA right now, 924.
Yeah.
So there
Yeah.
you go.
So keep an eye. Will Robertson, Riley Terada, Jonathan Clase, Addison Barger. That is probably the pecking order for next call ups.
All this to say, the frustrations we have seen from our back of the roster young guys. If we do got to do some shuffling, and that's inevitable with any
Yeah.
team, right? You're shuffling guys 24, 25, 26. Is at least we do have some guys that if you call them up, you feel like, okay, they deserve a shot. Like they're
Yeah.
knocking as much as
Yeah.
deserve never has anything to do with it. But you don't want to be stuck with a guy who's cold in the majors and then be like, wow, we got fucking no options in AAA, so we're just going to keep strutting Kevin Biggio out there. Sorry, that was Freudian slip. Um, I miss Kevin Biggio, man.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Just a sucker for punishment.
Yeah, I guess so. Me too, buddy. I do kind of miss him too, but he is yeah, doing poorly on the Royals right now, so.
There you go.
He's Kansas City's boy now. Okay, going to Jason Smith on Instagram. And again, trying to be more active on Instagram. You can always follow us at the Walk Off Podcast on there. This is from Jason Smith. He goes, "Hey guys, wow. Was it ever nice to see this team hit not just a home run tonight, but two and one with runners on? It feels like it's been years since it's happened." Which got me to look up when was the last time the Blue Jays hit 2 home runs in a game, and it's been 221 days. It was September 7th of last year. It also was against the Braves and Spencer Swellenbach. So interesting, kind of crazy.
Okay, hold on. 200 and how many games?
221 days,
Oh,
not
days,
games.
days.
Yeah, days.
221 days, but like
Yes, I am aware.
150 of those were off season.
None of your business where these days came from. All right,
When
Adam.
when you said 200, I was like, holy, that's been a long time. And then you said September 7th, and I was like, oh, it was yesterday.
You know what? Let me frame this and give the
This
narrative I
is
want, all right?
this is how stats can be true and also very misleading. So, well done. That was a perfect example of that.
Stop calling me out on presenting things in a negative light when they
Wow,
aren't as negative as maybe I'm presenting it. Yeah.
amazing.
Okay. All right,
That's fun.
moving on to YouTube. We're down to our final 3 messages of mailbag. Thank you so much to everyone
Thank
who
you.
follows along and all the interaction. We always enjoy chatting with you folks. You can always DM us on Twitter at Walk Off Podcast, Instagram, the Walk Off Podcast, Blue Sky, the Walk Off Podcast. Going to YouTube, this one is from Becky Peterson. She goes, "I agree. Pitching has been solid, and we are waiting for Santander especially to get going." This was a few days ago before he hit 2 dingers in 3 days. The long balls, It's almost humorous, especially the lack of from Vladdy and Santander, who are famous for them, and Vladdy's getting paid for them. But I suspect they will come. Sure hope so, Becky. Certainly more than we
Hmm.
have been for sure. That's a given. It is almost funny to see them playing baseball base to base as often as people make fun of that kind of baseball, but it's working for them right now. So at least we have that. Agreed. You know what? This team is 10-8, and we haven't seen the home runs show up until last night. So, hey,
Hey, I like it.
hopefully while you're watching this, you're like, and it's not 10-8, it's 11-8. They beat the Braves and won the series. That's the dream. I know that we are releasing this after the game, despite recording it right before it. So, yeah, we'll see how it goes. Jays Talk 89 says, I don't think it's coincidence that our pitching has been dominant and the hitting has struggled. I think the really cold weather in New York and Boston suppressed the home runs and offense in general. We scored 2.9 runs per game, and the opponent scored 2.6 runs per game in the 7 road games so far. And I believe we only had 1 home run, and the Mets and Red Sox combined only had 1 home run, and that was from Pete Alonso. You know what? Love this comment from Jay's Talk.
Hmm.
Um, I love it because you know what? There are extenuating circumstances as to why offense is cold. And you know what? The weather does play. It does play into it. It's not the only reason. And obviously, you can't blame weather constantly, especially considering that playoffs are played in October when it's chilly. So you don't want that to be the thing you're constantly hanging your hat on. But it makes a difference. And it does make it easier for the pitcher to get those outs. Now that said, it does go player to player. Some guys are really good in warm weather. Some guys are better in cold, and it's just how you kind of play it, right? We can kind of say the
Hmm.
same thing with sports analysts, right? Our good friend of the show, Keegan Matheson, cold weather analyst, loves a nice chilly breeze, right? Arden Zwelling,
Oh my
more of a hot
God.
weather man, likes his. All right,
Um, I didn't see that going in that direction.
yeah, there you go.
That's good.
Okay,
That's good.
moving along. Final message of the mailbag. This is from BC Blizzard, and he goes, I consider the Scherzer signing as a bonus to the roster, not a mainstay. As I see him interacting in the dugout, I suspect he's still contributing. We wouldn't have seen Eston Lucas up as soon without Scherzer's injuries, so that's a plus. Too early to say, but I almost feel the same way about the surprise impact of Lucas's 2 starts as we did with Bowden's impressive innings at the end of the last season. If, when Scherzer returns, it will be tough as things stand to send Lucas back down. I think there is some time, though, before that happens. I would like to see Clase or Barger in the lineup and send Schneider down, in my opinion. Clement is struggling too. So this was obviously before Easton Lucas's last start.
Hmm.
And obviously, a lot of Blue Jays fans high on Lucas after those 2 starts. We'll see how the kid does. Listen, I'm not without hope that Lucas is legit and that he is somewhere between that 3 to 4.5 ERA guy, and that we are going to get some length and depth out of the guy that was picked off of waivers just last summer. Okay, the Tigers DFA'd him. I say that to put in perspective of who we're dealing with, right? Like, again, you got to picture every good start is found money. And if it's more than that, fantastic. If he winds up working out in the end of this season, amazing. I could not be happier. Super small sample size right now. But you know what? The more time this kid can give Scherzer to get right, the better. And of course, the bad news with Scherzer is that his hand's still bothering, his thumb's still a problem. He's seeing a specialist in the next few days. Not good news, right? You were hoping
Yeah.
shutting him down and giving him some rest and some cortisone shots would improve how he's feeling. It hasn't really done much. This was the problem all offseason with Scherzer. This was the problem last season. So his back is fine. He's healthy, all of that stuff outside of his thumb. So can they get it right? I don't know. But again, the longer Eston Lucas can take the ball and run with it, the better the scenario for Max Scherzer. Again,
So I have two recent tweets from 9 minutes ago and 3 minutes ago on the Scherzer situation. So cold weather reporter Keegan Matheson says Scherzer threw yesterday and today, and we'll visit with the doctor again today. This is a different hand specialist than last time, John Schneider says. So, second opinion.
second
Take for
opinion.
that what you will.
I don't
And
like it.
then hot weather reporter Ben Nicholson Smith. Max Scherzer threw in Florida today. We'll visit a hand specialist there to help determine the next steps. Yes, that's what Keegan covered. But Nicholson Smith adds, Jay's hoping ramping him up won't take too long. In the meantime, Eston Lucas rolls in the rotation. So
Perfect.
once we can get past this hand, as you alluded to, the back doesn't
Mm-hmm.
seem to be an issue at least.
Mm-hmm.
So just got to
Yeah,
get past that thumb,
you
right?
just got to get past that thumb. And honestly, if I really do believe that if Max Scherzer can get to a point where the pain is manageable, he'll fight through it. But he cannot be changing his delivery. He cannot be, um, you know, because this was the problem, right? Is he was starting to feel it in his side because he was changing the way he was throwing to get the stuff and the spin on the ball that he wanted, and then he was starting to feel it in his hip. You cannot have that. He's got to be able to power through the thumb with whatever the shot is and still kind of maintain his regular delivery. Can it be done? Sure hope so.
There you go.
All right, folks. Thank you so much for following along with Mailbag. Don't forget, Baseball Town is tomorrow. It's going to be a blast. We are going to have a party. Friday, by the way, is Good Friday, so there's nothing to get up for. Come and have some beers with Blake Murphy, Keegan Matheson coming down just to drink and talk baseball. He's not even on the show. We've got Julia Cruz, one of my favorites, just to chat some baseball with, and now a part of Blue Jays Talk Plus on Sportsnet. We got Mitch Bannon, friend of the show, formerly of Sports Illustrated. We're writing with Blue Jays Nation, and maybe we have something to announce about his new career path tomorrow. We'll see, fingers crossed. And as if that's not enough, the boys from Blue Jays Today joining us as well. Going to be a lot of fun here. Ticket link is in the description or the comment section, whatever floats your boat. Hopefully, we'll see you there. Cheers, everybody. Take care.